Young and Restless early spoilers December 1st to 5th, Victor's brutal takedown of Matt, war erupts. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week, and then we're going to talk about next week. Of course, there's only one new episode left this week of YandR, and then we've got one rerun and one preemption day because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I hope everybody's already getting their turkey and dressing ready. We are here at my place. All right, let's dive in. Victor takes the high road on Young and the Restless. Wednesday, November 26th is the last new episode of the week, and Abby Newman, Melissa Ordway, Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, join the Newmans for Thanksgiving, but they've got other plans as well. Nate shows up and he brings gifts for Victor, Eric Braden, and Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott. He's playing nice, and he is trying to make amends because there's that whole awkwardness where Nate was planning to put Victor in a hospital for his own good when he was working at Newman. The mustache can hold a grudge, but Victor actually accepts the gift of tequila quite graciously. He pulls Nate aside and he sincerely thanks him for being there and supporting Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, when they lost Cole Howard J., Eddie Peck. Because remember, Victor and Nikki and the rest of the Newmans were all over in France dealing with the Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and Dumas situation. So it's very nice, and Victor and Nate bury the hatchet, which is good since Victoria and Nate are heating up soon. Noah Newman coming home soon on YandR. With the Newmans all together, they are toasting to Noah Newman's Lucas Adams, safe return from Los Angeles with Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case soon. But when the family starts asking Victor about what is going on in LA with all of them, well, guess what? He lies and he tells Nikki and Victoria that everything is fine. Meanwhile, Chelsea Lawson Newman, Melissa Claire Egan, and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, are canoodling at their place. Thanksgiving drama at Crimson Lights. Phyllis and Kane clash. We've got Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford, and Esther Valentine, Kate Linder, hanging out at Crimson Lights getting ready to serve Thanksgiving to the poor. When Kane shows up and enters, he says he is there to volunteer to help. And guess what? Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, is right behind him and says she's there to volunteer too. They both get aprons. Lily is disgusted by all this and just walks out. Phyllis starts yanking Kane's chain and says that she knows he came only to impress Lily after telling Phyllis that he was done with her. And of course, he and Phyllis got intimate. So Kane calls Phyllis jealous and tells her it's going to take him some time to get over Lily, just like it's taken Phyllis time to get over Danny Romalotti, Michael Damian. Phyllis denies being jealous and then changes the subject to her new company while Lily eavesdrops on them. Phyllis walks out on Young and the Restless. Kane says Phyllis is lying about this new venture, and it's never going to manifest. Then Lily walks up and says Kane will never change if he is with Phyllis. Lily says he has to choose one side or the other. And Phyllis is like, fine. She tosses down her apron and walks out. But Kane follows Phyllis to the GCAC and tells her that she should have expected to get an attitude like that from Lily considering what's going on. Phyllis says she actually doesn't care what Lily thinks of her, but agrees that Lily is right and that Kane needs to choose between them. She also thinks Kane should have spoken up when Lily was saying the things she was saying about her. So Phyllis walks away and heads upstairs. Young and the Restless, a full house for the Abbott family Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, over at the Abbotts, Harrison Locke, Redding Munsell, is begging Claire to please stay for dinner when she only dropped by to see him for a couple of minutes. Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, shows up with Ashley Abbott, Eileen Davidson, from the airport. And Jack also tells Claire that she should please stay. So, she relents and stays a bit longer. We've got Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. We've got Claire and Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, and Harrison. Also, we've got Ashley and Tracy Abbott, Beth Maitland, Jack, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters. It's a full house. Everybody sits down at the dinner table, and they share what they're thankful for. Ashley starts, and it's all about family and healing and love, and it's all sweet. On Claire's way out, though, she gives Kyle a little kiss, like on the lips, not anything passionate, but affectionate, which is interesting. After they do their volunteering work, Amy and Lily meet at Society with Abby, and Nate to have dinner over there. The restaurant's closed. They're doing a special family dinner, and they make a recipe that Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, liked. So they talk about missing him. And they also talk about being thankful for family and do their toasting. Special Thanksgiving episode, and YandR schedule changes. Then on Thursday, November 27th, there actually is a Young and the Restless episode airing on Thanksgiving. CBS Daytime is rerunning a classic episode from November of 1990 when Danny married Christine Williams, Laura Lee Bell, in Hawaii. And this kind of nicely bookends the week of episodes because we started the week with their new wedding and we ended the week with one of their old weddings. Then on Friday, November 28th, no YandR episode at all since it's preempted for CBS soaps. Be sure and delete that rerun episode, though, because sometimes when they do reruns and preemptions, if you don't get them off your DVR, it messes up your recordings for the following week. YandR spoilers for December 1st to 5th. Audra confronts Nate over Victoria. The week of December 1st through 5th on Young and the Restless, we've got all new episodes, 5 new days. So next week Audra Charles Zuleika Silver is confronting Nate. She says it's clear to her that he won't ever forgive her. And Audra says that she can see Nate is moving on with Victoria. First of all, it's none of her business. And second of all, I'm not sure why Audra is surprised because Nate has made it clear that he can't forgive her. I mean, why should he forgive Audra? And really, Nate still doesn't know the worst of what Audra did with Kyle in France. Them almost shagging on the bed in his train car room when Kyle was only in a towel and was on top of Audra, and she wasn't tapping the brakes at all. It was Kyle who stopped it before they did sexy stuff. So, Audra is 100% in the wrong and she regrets what it cost her because she got nothing out of it. Victor's AI weapon threatens the Abbott family legacy. Jack warns the gathered Abbotts that Victor has this AI weapon of Kane's and Jack says that he knows that Victor is about to use it against Jabot and could destroy their family business and legacy. So Jack tells the family he has a plan to protect them and the family business, but he's not sure they are going to like what he has cooked up. The big question, of course, is how to stop it. I kind of wonder if Adam might find some way to intervene to help Jack, because we saw Adam already trying to distract Victor by encouraging him to go after Billy, but Victor wasn't dissuaded. But Adam's dad is out of town next week, so that might be simmering with tension, and by Monday morning, the heat had turned into a full-blown inferno. Victor Newman, the city's formidable patriarch, was no stranger to battles, but this one promised to be the most personal and vicious yet. Across town, Matt Clark, the manipulative schemer whose vendetta against the Newmans had quietly festered, had crossed a line that even Victor couldn't ignore. And now war was inevitable. It all began in the most unexpected place, Newman Enterprises' sleek boardroom. The morning sun streamed through the towering windows, illuminating Victor's imposing figure as he leaned over the polished table. His piercing eyes locked on Matt, who attempted, for the umpteenth time, to project an air of confidence. But this morning, Matt's bravado felt hollow. He was on the wrong side of a storm he hadn't anticipated. Matt! Victor's voice was a low growl, each word dripping with menace. You've made a mistake, a colossal one. Do you have any idea the trouble you've brought on yourself? Or do you just enjoy living on the edge of disaster? Matt smirked, trying to mask his fear with arrogance. Victor, you can't keep chasing ghosts. I'm here legally, and there's nothing you can do about it. You Newmans always think you own the world. Victor's eyes narrowed, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the tabletop. Oh, I own a lot of things, Matt. And you, my friend, are about to learn exactly how dangerous it is to underestimate me. The room went silent except for the faint hum of the city below. Employees and onlookers, sensing the tension, whispered among themselves. Matt's facade began to crack as Victor continued, laying out the web of deceit that Matt had spun. An intricate network of lies, backroom deals, and manipulations designed to weaken the Newman empire. Victor didn't just want to stop Matt. He wanted to annihilate him. You think your little schemes will bring me down? Victor's tone escalated, his fury barely contained. You think you can meddle with my family and my company without consequence? Matt, you are about to find out that every action has a reaction. And mine are absolute. Matt tried to speak, to retort, but Victor's reputation preceded him. This was no idle threat, it was a calculated promise. Over the past few weeks, Victor had meticulously gathered every shred of evidence of Matt's wrongdoing. Bank records, emails, secret meetings, it was all there. Every card was on the table, and Matt had no idea how quickly Victor could play them. As the tension in the room escalated, Victor delivered his coup de grace. I've already taken measures to ensure that every move you make from this point forward will be exposed. I've already alerted our legal team, and your every asset is being audited. By the end of the week, Matt, you won't have a single card left to play. Matt's confident smirk faltered. The realization hit him. Victor had been waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and that moment had arrived. The predator had become the hunted. For the first time, Matt truly felt the weight of Victor's power, and it was terrifying. Meanwhile, the news of Victor's brutal takedown spread through Genoa City like wildfire. Sharon Newman, always attuned to the currents of the business world, sensed the seismic shift. "Victor's going after Matt?" she asked incredulously, meeting with Nikki in her sunlit living room. "This isn't going to end quietly. Matt doesn't just fold, he fights dirty." Nikki, sipping her coffee, nodded gravely. "Victor's not playing games anymore. If Matt thought he could outsmart him, he was wrong. But Sharon, be careful. When Victor goes on the offensive, he doesn't just hit his target, he shakes everyone around it." Across town, Matt Clark's confidence was crumbling. Alone in his office, he scrolled through the emails and financial reports that Victor had strategically left for him to find. Like a trap springing shut. Panic set in, and for the first time in years, Matt questioned his choices. How had he underestimated Victor Newman, the man who had survived every betrayal, scandal, and war the city could throw at him? Victor wasn't finished yet. The masterstroke was still to come, a public confrontation that would leave Matt exposed in every possible sphere, business, social, and personal. Victor knew the power of humiliation and leverage, and he intended to use both. By midday, the first move in Victor's campaign had been executed. Matt's accounts were frozen, his credibility questioned, and his allies reconsidering their loyalties. Victor's lawyers were already drafting public statements that would make Matt's reputation implode. And in private, Victor was relentless, ensuring that Matt understood one undeniable truth. No one manipulates a Newman and escapes unscathed. The city watched as this new war unfolded, gossip spreading faster than wildfire. Socialites whispered about Matt's potential downfall. Employees speculated on the future of Newman Enterprises, and the media speculated about Victor's next move. Genoa City was bracing for a showdown, and every resident knew that when Victor Newman declared war, it wasn't just a battle, it was an all-out obliteration. Even beyond the boardroom, the effects rippled through families. Victoria Newman caught wind of the unfolding drama and braced herself for the fallout, worried about how Matt's desperation might endanger innocents caught in the crossfire. Adam Newman, too, observed the escalation with interest, his own schemes temporarily sidelined by the sheer force of his father's wrath. Victor, for all his ruthlessness, remained the calm eye of the storm. He understood the delicate balance of power in Genoa City and wielded it like a scalpel. Each action was precise, each threat surgical. And yet, beneath the fury, there was a lesson for Matt Clark, a reminder that no one, not even the boldest schemer, could outmaneuver a Newman. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting long shadows across the city, one thing was crystal clear. The war had only just begun. Matt Clark had awoken a force far stronger than he realized, and Victor Newman was not a man to forgive lightly. The boardroom confrontation was merely the opening salvo in a battle that would leave the city trembling and Matt scrambling to survive. By the end of the week, Genoa City would witness the full brunt of Victor's power. A brutal takedown so complete that Matt Clark's reputation, alliances, and ambitions would lie in ruins. And as Victor Newman surveyed the battlefield he had created, there was no doubt in his mind. In this war, only one man would come out on top. The war was here. And Victor Newman had already won the first round. Buzzing with tension, and for once it wasn't fueled by betrayal, scandal, or boardroom takeovers. Instead, a surprising shift was sweeping through the city, one that left even the most seasoned residents of Newman Enterprises stunned. Victor Newman, the man whose name had long been synonymous with ruthlessness, power, and manipulation, appeared to be taking the high road. But in a world where alliances are fragile and revenge often simmers just below the surface, no one could quite believe it, until it happened. The week began with Victor confronting one of his oldest adversaries, a schemer whose repeated attempts to undermine the Newman Empire had always ended in humiliation. Yet this time, Victor surprised everyone. Instead of delivering a devastating blow, he extended an olive branch. It wasn't the kind of forgiveness that came easily or casually. It was calculated, measured, and deliberate, but it was still unexpected. Victoria Newman, watching her father's uncharacteristic restraint, could hardly contain her curiosity. "Dad, are you serious?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. "You're letting this go?" Victor's steely gaze softened just slightly, a rare glimpse behind the armor he always wore. "Yes, Victoria," he replied, his voice calm yet firm. "Sometimes taking the high road isn't about weakness. It's about strategy. And more importantly, it's about legacy." Legacy. The word echoed in Victoria's mind. She had grown up witnessing the ferocity of Victor's methods, the relentless battles, the corporate wars, the personal vendettas. But now, the man who had built an empire on fear and respect was showing another side of himself, one that valued dignity over domination. Meanwhile, at Newman Enterprises, whispers spread like wildfire. Employees speculated, board members questioned, and rivals scratched their heads. Was Victor changing? Was he losing his edge? Or was this yet another intricate layer of a master plan only he could comprehend? One thing was certain. His decision to take the high road was shifting the entire dynamic of Genoa City. Victor's first act of restraint involved Matt Clark, a young executive whose repeated underhanded tactics had nearly brought Newman Enterprises to the brink of disaster. In the past, Victor would have crushed him publicly, ensuring that no competitor would ever dare cross him again. This time, he simply called Matt into his office. "I know what you've been up to, Matt," Victor said, leaning back in his chair, fingers steepled. "And I know how you've tried to undermine the company. But instead of retaliation, I'm offering you a choice. Clean slate. Start over. Show me you can contribute rather than destroy." Matt blinked, unsure if he had misheard. Victor Newman, the man who had turned corporate warfare into an art form, was offering mercy? It was almost too much to process. But the offer was real. The opportunity to prove himself was genuine. As word spread, Genoa City reacted with a mix of skepticism and awe. Sharon Newman, always in tune with the emotional currents of the city, remarked to Nick, "It's different. He's usually all about crushing anyone who steps out of line. But now, it's like he's showing a heart." Nick, who had experienced Victor's wrath firsthand more than once, nodded slowly. He's still Victor. But maybe, just maybe, he's realizing that power doesn't always have to come from fear. Victor's high-road approach didn't stop at corporate enemies. He extended gestures of reconciliation to family members as well. Billy Abbott, who had long been at odds with the Newman patriarch over personal and professional conflicts, received a surprising message. A handwritten note suggesting they meet, away from the boardroom, to discuss matters openly and without animosity. Billy, who had grown used to Victor's sharp edge and biting commentary, was taken aback. "He wants peace," he muttered to Victoria, reading the note for the third time. "That's not Victor." Victoria smiled, a hint of relief in her eyes. "Maybe it's the Victor we've all been waiting for," she said. "Or maybe it's just a new tactic. Either way, it's something worth exploring." The turning point came during a tense moment at Newman Enterprises' annual holiday gala. Typically, these events were battlegrounds disguised as celebrations. Alliances forged, rivalries deepened, and subtle power plays executed under sparkling chandeliers. But this year, Victor's demeanor set a new tone. Instead of surveying the room for weaknesses and plotting his next move, he engaged with guests sincerely, listened intently, and offered genuine compliments. Even Diane Jenkins, whose presence always promised intrigue, found herself momentarily disarmed. She approached Victor with her usual air of confidence, expecting to provoke a reaction. Instead, Victor greeted her warmly. "Diane," he said with a nod, "let's leave the past where it belongs. There's more to accomplish together than apart." Gasps rippled through the room. Diane herself appeared almost speechless, a rare sight in a city where every interaction was a potential chess move. Victor's high-road approach was not only shocking his rivals, it was redefining the way power operated in Genoa City. Of course, not everyone was convinced. Nikki Newman, Victor's longtime confidant and moral compass, remained cautiously optimistic. "Victor, I've seen your heart, and I know what's possible," she said quietly, placing a hand on his arm. "But be careful. Taking the high road doesn't mean everyone else will follow." Victor acknowledged her warning with a nod. "I know, Nikki," he replied. "But some roads are worth walking, even if they're lonely. This is about showing the world, and myself, that strength isn't always measured by domination. Sometimes it's measured by restraint." As Genoa City watched, whispers turned to headlines, speculation gave way to admiration, and enemies paused to reconsider their strategies. Victor Newman's high-road approach was more than just a change in tactics. It was a statement of character, a bold declaration that even the fiercest titan could evolve. And in the midst of this unprecedented shift, one thing became clear. Victor's legacy was not only about power. It was about the ability to rise above the petty feuds, the betrayals, and the endless cycles of revenge. For the first time in a long time, Genoa City saw the possibility of a Newman patriarch who wielded influence not through fear, but through integrity. Whether this new path would endure, or whether Victor would eventually return to his old ways, no one could predict. But for now, the city watched, rapt and riveted, as a man who had long been the embodiment of ambition and ruthlessness showed a side that few had ever witnessed: compassion, strategy, and the courage to take the high road. In Genoa City, where drama is eternal and the stakes always run high, Victor Newman's latest move might just be the most shocking, and perhaps the most inspiring.
Genoa City
is buzzing with whispers and rumors as word spreads that Noah Newman, the prodigal son of the Newman family, is making his highly anticipated return. His absence has left a void in the lives of his family, particularly with his brother Devin and mother Nikki. But Noah's comeback promises to stir old rivalries, ignite new passions, and bring unexpected drama to a city that thrives on secrets and betrayals. For weeks, viewers have speculated about Noah's sudden disappearance. Some believed he had left to escape the relentless pressures of the Newman legacy, while others thought he might have been running from heartbreaks and mistakes he could never face. Whatever the reason, Noah's absence has been felt keenly. Sharon and Nick have struggled to maintain stability amidst family tensions, and Devin has often been left to navigate the Newman Empire's challenges without his younger brother's counsel. Now, the stage is set for Noah's return, and the question on everyone's lips is simple. What will he find when he steps back into the world he once knew so well? Noah's homecoming is more than just a personal reunion. It is a narrative pivot. His relationships with the women in his life, particularly Mariah, who has been struggling with her own challenges, are poised for intense scrutiny. Can Noah pick up where he left off, or has time created unbridgeable gaps between them? Mariah has changed, matured, and perhaps even moved forward, leaving Noah to navigate not only his own emotions, but also the complex realities of love after absence. YandR fans are eager to see whether the spark between Noah and Mariah can survive the storms of time and separation, or whether history is destined to repeat itself. But Noah's return isn't just about romance. It's about family, legacy, and power. The Newman name carries weight in Genoa City, and Noah is no stranger to the pressures of living under Victor's shadow. Victor Newman, ever the calculating patriarch, has long had high expectations for all his children, expecting them to contribute to the Newman Empire while also upholding the family reputation. Noah's return will inevitably place him in the midst of family dynamics he may have once avoided. He will have to confront Victor's high standards, the ongoing rivalries with other Newman heirs, and the ever-present tension between business ambitions and personal loyalties. Adding another layer to this homecoming is the drama surrounding Genoa City's social scene. Noah has always had an uncanny ability to move through the city's elite circles with charm and diplomacy, but returning after an absence brings its own set of challenges. Old friends and adversaries alike will want to gauge where he stands, what he wants, and whether his loyalty can be trusted. This tension is further complicated by Matt Clark, whose own manipulations and schemes continue to haunt the Newman family. Noah's arrival could either be a stabilizing force or the catalyst for new conflicts, particularly as Matt's machinations threaten to unravel the fragile peace within the Newman household. Noah's journey back to Genoa City also provides a chance for personal growth and redemption. His past mistakes, moments of impulsivity, miscommunication, and perhaps even betrayal, have left lingering consequences that he cannot simply ignore. As he reintegrates into the lives of his family and friends, Noah is faced with the opportunity to make amends, confront old demons, and redefine his path. This storyline taps into one of YandR's most enduring themes, that of legacy, forgiveness, and the power of second chances. Can Noah prove that he has grown wiser, stronger, and more self-aware, or will old habits threaten to sabotage his reintegration? The Newman family is a perfect storm of ambition, love, and conflict, and Noah's return is a reminder that even the strongest foundations can shift. His presence is likely to unsettle not only Victor and Nikki, but also the extended Newman network, including close friends, business partners, and romantic interests. Tensions are likely to flare, alliances will be tested, and secrets long buried may come to the surface. For viewers, this creates a narrative goldmine. Every conversation, every glance, and every decision Noah makes will carry weight, and nothing in Genoa City remains inconsequential for long. Noah's return may also intersect with larger storylines affecting the city at large. From corporate battles at Newman Enterprises to personal vendettas and ongoing romantic entanglements, his presence introduces new possibilities for intrigue. Perhaps he will take a bold stance in family business decisions, challenge Victor in unexpected ways, or even forge unlikely alliances. These developments promise to keep audiences on the edge of their seats, as the line between personal loyalty and professional ambition is always tenuous in Genoa City. As anticipation builds, YandR's loyal viewers are left to wonder how Noah's re-entry will reshape the city's landscape. Will he be welcomed with open arms, or will skepticism and tension dominate his first encounters? How will his return impact his relationships with siblings, lovers, and friends? And most importantly, can Noah navigate the treacherous waters of his family's legacy without losing himself in the process? Noah Newman's homecoming is more than a simple storyline. It's a turning point, a chance for drama, redemption, and unexpected twists that define the essence of YandR. As Genoa City braces itself, fans are preparing for the return of a character whose charm, complexity, and loyalty have always been central to the show's emotional heartbeat. Noah's journey promises heartbreaks, surprises, and possibly even triumphs, reminding viewers why the Newman family remains at the core of everything in Genoa City. In the end, Noah's return isn't just about coming home. It's about reclaiming a place in a world that has changed in his absence. It's about confronting the past, embracing the future, and proving that even in a city as unpredictable as Genoa, resilience, love, and family can prevail. As YandR unfolds this dramatic chapter, one thing is certain. Noah Newman's homecoming will not just be watched. It will be felt, as his presence ripples through the lives of everyone he touches, leaving no relationship, no secret, and no Newman untouched. Noah Newman is coming home soon, and Genoa City will never be the same. Thick with anticipation as the staff prepared for their annual Thanksgiving event, a celebration that had always balanced elegance with a hint of chaos. But this year, the promise of a perfect holiday feast was overshadowed by brewing tension between two of Genoa City's most formidable personalities, Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby. What began as a casual invitation quickly spiraled into a full-blown holiday drama that no one would soon forget. From the moment Phyllis walked into Crimson, her eyes swept the room with calculated precision. The restaurant was aglow with soft amber lighting, table settings meticulously arranged, and the scent of roasted turkey mingling with fresh pumpkin pie. Phyllis, impeccably dressed in a crimson dress that perfectly matched the venue, radiated confidence. Yet behind her composed exterior, a storm of emotion brewed. She wasn't here merely to enjoy Thanksgiving. She was here to assert dominance. Across the room, Kane stood near the wine display, attempting to mask his unease. Kane Ashby, the charming yet occasionally hot-headed businessman, had always been a man of restraint, but when it came to Phyllis, even the most controlled of men could falter. He adjusted his cufflinks and took a deep breath, knowing that this holiday gathering would inevitably become a battlefield. Their history was tangled with professional rivalry, romantic tension, and a series of misunderstandings that refused to fade quietly into the past. The first spark came when Phyllis approached the host, offering polite but icy greetings. Kane, noticing her approach, made the fatal mistake of meeting her gaze. "Phyllis," he said, voice smooth but edged with warning, "I didn't expect to see you here this early." Phyllis arched an eyebrow, a subtle smirk playing on her lips. "Kane, I could say the same to you. But you know me. I never miss an opportunity to observe the chaos you create." The words were casual, but the intent was razor-sharp. Guests sensed the tension immediately. Whispered conversations paused, forks hovered mid-air, and even the usually chatty Crimson staff exchanged nervous glances. Everyone knew that when Phyllis and Kane collided, drama was inevitable. As the Thanksgiving menu unfolded, so did their verbal sparring. Kane attempted diplomacy, commenting on the perfectly roasted turkey. "Looks like someone finally learned how to cook without a disaster, Phyllis." Phyllis tilted her head, feigning amusement. "Kane, I always knew you had a flair for the obvious. But isn't it funny how some things, like my success, seem to irritate you endlessly?" The tension escalated when Kane's comment about a new business venture touched a raw nerve. "Well, if we're talking about success," he replied smoothly, "maybe we should discuss who really saved the company last quarter. It wasn't a single person, it was teamwork. Something you seem to struggle to appreciate." Phyllis's smile faltered, replaced by a flash of indignation. "Teamwork? Kane, don't insult me. I know exactly what I've contributed. And unlike some people, I don't hide behind the accomplishments of others to feel important." The words hung in the air like smoke. Nearby, Jill Abbott, who had been observing with a mix of amusement and concern, leaned in to whisper to a colleague. "Oh, this is going to be legendary. I wouldn't be surprised if the turkey ends up flying across the room." As the main course was served, the real fireworks began. Kane, trying to maintain composure, complimented the cranberry sauce, a subtle jab at Phyllis's supposed culinary skills. Phyllis, refusing to let the moment pass, leaned slightly closer. Kane, you've always been quick to criticize. But tell me, are you complimenting me now, or just trying to mask your envy? Kane paused, a faint smirk tugging at the corners of his lips. Maybe a bit of both. But envy? I prefer to think of it as professional admiration. At that moment Lily Winters, ever the mediator, decided it was time to intervene. Phyllis, Kane, this is Thanksgiving, she began, voice calm but firm. Can we at least try to enjoy the evening without turning it into a boardroom battle? Phyllis's eyes narrowed slightly, yet a hint of concession appeared. Lily, I respect your attempt at diplomacy. But some lessons are only learned when faced head-on. Kane, sensing an opening, leaned back and raised his glass. Then let's make a toast. To lessons, to success, and to surviving another Thanksgiving at Crimson. The tension momentarily eased as glasses clinked, but the peace was short-lived. Just as dessert arrived, an impressive display of pumpkin pie, pecan tarts, and whipped cream, Kane's phone buzzed. A glance at the screen caused his brow to furrow, and he excused himself to step outside. Phyllis noticed immediately. Her instincts told her something significant was unfolding. She followed, her curiosity and competitive streak refusing to let Kane have a private moment. Outside, the crisp autumn air carried the faint scent of fallen leaves, but it could not mask the storm between them. Kane, I hope this is worth interrupting our Thanksgiving celebration, Phyllis said, folding her arms. Kane turned, his expression a mixture of frustration and concern. It's complicated, but I can't let it ruin tonight. You and I, Phyllis, we've always been complicated. Phyllis's smirk returned, sharper than ever. Complicated? That's one word for it. I prefer electrifying. Every time we meet, there's this energy. Some might call it toxic. I call it unavoidable. Kane shook his head, half amused, half exasperated. Unavoidable, huh? Maybe that's why we keep finding ourselves in these ridiculous standoffs. Maybe some things are meant to stay unresolved. Phyllis stepped closer, voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone. Or maybe, Kane, some things are just too good to let go. Before Kane could respond, a sudden shout echoed from inside Crimson. It was Nikki Newman, calling for both of them to return before dessert turned into a scene straight out of a soap opera. They exchanged one last look, a mixture of challenge and intrigue, before re-entering the dining room. The rest of the evening was a delicate dance. Phyllis and Kane maintained civility, though every shared glance and casual brush of the arm carried unspoken tension. Guests speculated on their past, their rivalry, and the possibility of something deeper simmering beneath the surface. By the time the last slice of pie was served, it was clear that Thanksgiving at Crimson had delivered far more drama than anyone had expected. As the night concluded, Phyllis and Kane shared a moment near the exit. Until next time, Phyllis said, offering a nod that was half challenge, half acknowledgement. Kane smiled, his expression unreadable. Until next time. And with that, the door closed behind them, leaving a room buzzing with whispered theories, stunned onlookers, and the undeniable truth. At Crimson, Thanksgiving was never just about food. It was about power, pride, and the unrelenting drama that came with two of Genoa City's most magnetic forces colliding. One thing was certain. This holiday gathering would be remembered long after the last bite of pumpkin pie. And for Phyllis and Kane, the battle lines were drawn, ready to be revisited, perhaps sooner than anyone expected.